Ladies and gentlemen of Middle-earth, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this casted Age of the Ring showdown, spawning here on the south side of the map. It's going to be myself with Haradwaith, a faction I'm really enjoying, trying to learn. Very complicated compared to like Isengard. Isengard is pretty straightforward. You get like the wild men, and then you just go straight to the Oryx, and that's kind of pretty much all you do. There's a little bit of variance if you want to go for some of the Dudelanding units or maybe the wargs, but very simplistic. But Haradwaith has so many directions to go. It is absolutely insane. One of the core mechanics, of course, is that you're able to subjugate different tribes, so you can subjugate different things and boost the production of those units, but it's really hard to decide which direction to go. But like I said, I'm going to be on Haradwaith here in the south, and my opponent, Orange Pest, is going to be on Guldur, so bringing Sauron the Necromancer to bear, and we're going to see what he's going to be able to get done. So my game plan out of the gates is to get the Haradwaith units, which are like your basic barracks units. They're like the most simplistic infantry you have. You know, you got your spearman, you got your archer, you got your raider, pretty basic stuff. So we're going to be going for the Haradwaith units, and then from there we're going to be getting the Corsairs of Umbar into the Black Númenóreans. Now, the Númenórean units are very elite, incredibly expensive. Their baseline infantry unit is 700 gold. So, for example, if you're looking at like an orc unit, like a Mordor orc is 80. Cheap units for a lot of factions are between 100 and 200, like their baseline units. So you can see the quality of those units. So what's really cool about Haradwaith, they get the Haradwaith Warlord. These guys have the ability to turn into any unit you want. So when you make it, it starts with a single unit, and you can transform him into a spear, into an archer, into a axeman, which of course is like a swordsman equivalent. And it can help you adapt. So for example, if you have some lurking, your opponent shows up with some cavalry, you're like, I'm going to turn into a spear unit and be able to deal with that threat, which is quite nice. Kind of looks like a bit of a hero here, but we are going to be going axeman out of the gates, which probably was a bit of a mistake. I always forget that Dol Guldur, even though I main them and I play Dol Guldur all the time, I forget that spiders are like counted as cavalry units. So he rolls up on me with some cav here, and it's certainly not good. I was hoping to go raid, maybe take down a building right out of the gates, but alas, he is going to run past me with the Fell Brood, which is a spider unit, and I'm going to be retreating into the base, immediately making another Haradwaith Warlord here, or Haradwaith. I got to get that right. I'll get it right eventually. All the pronunciations are tricky. But we do have the spider nest here, and he is going to be building the Guldur jail, and probably building the basic orcs or the broken rabbles to try and just defend his base. They're not really good at early aggression because they do disintegrate. But spear unit is out. We do get the warlord, and he is going to be turning into the fancy warlord here, and hopefully we'll be able to drive back these fell broods here. Up in the north, we do see the wargs attacking one of his bases, which is always funny, and my infantry here, the axemen, going north, just scouting, getting a bearing of what he has. I do see one of his main buildings here. There's no way in hell I'm killing that, and he immediately starts producing a broken rabble, which will lose pretty badly to my tribal axemen, but yeah, obviously we'll see. If he has a couple of them, he can probably fend me off. So on this side, we are going to be getting the Umbarian Citadel, yes. So these things are pretty sweet. They got your elite units, and there's a couple directions you can go with Haradwaith. So you have 4 different production buildings, which is nuts. You have the Haradwaith, which gives you all your kind of basic units here. You have the Umbarian Citadel, which gives you the Corsairs of Umbar, which are the pirates. But you also get the Black Númenóreans. So you can see here you have the Corsairs, which are like a raiding unit. They're really good at dealing with buildings. Very solid. They have these like firebomb abilities, which is awesome. You have the Black Númenóreans, which are great quality infantry. You have extremely expensive cavalry in the Númenórean Vanguard, and then you have these elite anti-large, anti-hero infantry here in the Watchers of Karna. So spiders came in, got a little bit of a raiding, did end up taking down one of my bazaars, so it feels bad. Up in the north, I don't know what happened to my unit. I think he was able to fend it off. Yeah, he probably dragged it down with a bunch of his pieces there. But overall, yeah, the broken rabblers, I don't even know what happens to them. They're like the lost unit. Yeah, we'll never know what happened, guys. Looks like he did turn these guys. No, they're just the orc jailers here. So these are the basic orc spearmen, and he does have his spiders. He's trying to do this here. At the base, we are going to be switching into the Corsairs of Umbar. I really like to go Corsairs with Haradwaith spearmen, because the Corsairs are good against infantry, or decent, and then the Haradwaith spearmen are very good against cavalry and spiders and things like that. And then my favorite hero to go out of the gates is the Corsair Lord. So there's like the Corsair Lord of Umbar, and he buffs the nearby pirates, and he has some really cool abilities. He can like mind control units. He's really good against buildings. He has like a big firebomb ability. He's quite fun. Look at that. The Corsairs are like skirmishing here. This game has such cool attention to detail here. So we're forming ranks. We do have the spearmen as well as the Corsairs. Now this is kind of our early game composition. My opponent trying to do this warg nest here, but wargs are no joke. They certainly put up a good fight. He does get the one in the north. Is going to be recruiting the inn, which gives him a local unit based on the map that you're on. So he gets the wow, talk about a mouthful to say that name. But we are advancing double Spearmen as well as E-Corsairs, hoping to get some ground, take out some buildings. Dol Guldur units are not great in open field conflict, a lot of them. They kind of like layer buffs and synergies on top of each other, so individually their units aren't like super solid. But you can see the Corsairs with their fire bombs. If you stand still, it does good damage. You can see these guys getting melted by the Corsairs of Umbar. You're paying 350 for them, but you can see very, very good value on those bad boys. Coming into the spiders here, and they're going to be trying to move through, but I immediately detach my spear units to kind of screen them and harry them out. Dol Guldur coming in with the hunters and the broken rabble, so they're going to be trying to overwhelm me here, but overall the troop quality difference is pretty big, and we unfortunately do get run over by some of the spiders. The spearmen not able to keep pace, but we do get down one of the slave mills there, and on the outside he tried to raid me with spiders, but I do have the Haradwaith raiders, which are my cav units, and they are going to be intercepting those bad boys. Now, we do have our first hero coming out soon, I think. He might already be on his way to the fight. Let's see if he's up here. Nonetheless, we do end up winning that fight. But, it's not like terribly one-sided. It's just, a little bit of a skirmish there. We both deal damage, and his units do disintegrate when they're away from necromantic energy, so that's very, very nice for me. He does have Crimple the Torturer. That's going to be the hero of his choice. He does have the Orcish Chief, so he can summon a battalion of Orc Jailers, which is a really good ability. Summons out of the gates are insanely good. He does also have the Master's Command, so he's been tasked with retrieving the Rings of Power, dealing more damage against Gandalf, Elrond, Galadriel, and Thorin Oakenshield. Pretty glorious stuff. Battle's on. We destroy another jail here. My Haradwaith cav in the back are fighting off the spiders, and the Corsairs of Umbar getting some work done. And I do have the hero unit, so here he is. This is going to be Haradwaith. He is the Corsair Lord of Umbar. Out of the gates, he gives armor and damage to nearby Corsairs, and eventually, when he gets level 5, nearby Corsairs earn resource every kill. So really, really cool scaling on him. And he's got a ton of abilities that we will go over as the game does progress. But the Corsairs of Umbar and the Haradwaith Riders doing what they can here against the forces of Dol Guldur. My opponent, I was a little bit confused. I was like, did he mind control one of my units? Because he has the Khan here. Of course, those are a Mordor unit, but I have the ability to summon them. So I was like, what the hell's going on here? We do ride down the spiders, and the Corsairs are going to be pulling back, setting up a desert outlook in the middle to secure my territory where I can. And in the back, we are eventually going to be checking up, and now it's time to transition to mid-game. It's going to be the Black Numenorean Warriors. These guys are awesome. So nearby enemy units lose armor, which is very, very good. And as they scale, they get some good abilities. And of course, you can upgrade them. So to upgrade this faction, you have to be near the caravan I set up here, which is a really... It's so weird, man. It feels like a huge hindrance. I mean, I know you can relocate these things and move them, but there's a cooldown on setting them back up again. So you have to have the unit next to this to get the upgrades. Whereas like with Isengard, I can just have my entire army in the field and just upgrade them. That feels like a big weakness of this faction overall. Now, it's not the end of the world, but just requires a little bit more micro. It's a bit of a tax, right? So here we get the Khan Phalanx moving in, and my Corsairs, as well as the Black Numenorean Warriors, going to be moving in. Firebomb's going to be activated as well, but the Numenorean Warriors will make very quick work of these guys. They're an elite unit. They're going to put the pound town beating on these guys for sure, and I do, of course, have the Corsair Lord Hero in there, who is buffing the damage of all of my units here. So forcing him back, Crimple the Torturer, I don't know where he is. I believe he's still licking his wounds up in the base. In the north, my Haradwaith Cav doing some raiding, but he is able to screen it with his broken rabbles. I do ride through, attack those spiders, and the battle does indeed rage on. So the Black Numenoreans doing some good work, but unfortunately I'm being attacked by these cursed wargs from this den here. My hero's trying to get him down. So we're going to try and wear that one down if we can, as the firebombs continue to rain on these guys. And the Haradwaith Cavalry, after giving a little bit of a Benny Lou run around. Benny Lou? Benny Lou. There's a restaurant like near me that's like has that name. So the Benny Hill. I don't know why I thought that. That was really weird. But the broken rabble swarms of Dol Guldur are advancing up, breaking down my bazaar here. We are going to continue getting good quality troopers, so spamming out the Black Numenorean Warriors to be my anti-infantry, and then the Haradwaith Spearmen to be my anti-cav, anti-monster, that sort of thing there. So another one of his pits is going to be going down. You can see these guys are getting cooked. We are trying to screen out Crimple the Torturer. He is able to run away, so good micro from my opponent. That's a really good hero. I didn't even realize. So level 7, he summons like elite units. Okay, that's rad. I always kind of skip him and go straight to Sauron. You know, sometimes I'll get Thrain the Broken, just really cheap to buff my rabbles and things like that, but okay. So setting up another bazaar here, pulling back, and we do have the Numenoreans and the Cav in the back of the base, just getting more raiders, getting more of the Black Numenorean Warriors, and just preparing the onslaught and hoping for the late game tech. But the big army fight soon to be underway. The next kind of progression that I've been enjoying a lot is to get Casimir. He buffs all of your Black Numenorean units and make them like super Giga Chads. So he's quite a good synergy there. But the battle is on. We do see the Numenoreans clashing with the broken rabble and zombies in the woods. Big epic sound effects going down. On the side, I think we did get Crimple the Torturer. I think I just saw him go down here. On the other side, we continue getting fire bombs, and we do have this tower here, this lookout tower, which if he gets a little bit closer, we could provide some good fire support. Now, he was losing the fight, but he does respawn. There was even a little bit of that graphics lag happened in the game too. But he summoned those woods there. It spawns spiders and causes nearby units to be terrified. So a couple of my units do get cut off here. You can see on the west side, Crimple and I think that's Crimple in there. No, those are just the Black Uruk Ravagers. They're a good unit. They're one of his more elite units. It costs about 600, so they're not quite of the quality of my Numenorians, but they do some work. We do manage to fight him off here, and the archers doing quite some fine work on this side. We do have some of my cavalry creeping the Warg Pit here, finally getting that in check. And in the back, he does get the Tower of Sorcery, which means now he can start turning his rabble into the undead, which is really, really strong. And if you have crazy good micro, you can wait till one of your, not your rabbles, but your orcs, you wait till they get low, and then you turn them into undead, and you get like a big spawn of them. It's a really, really good. All right, so we retreat away. I didn't want to fight kind of pincered in here. You know, against Dol Guldur, if you overextend into the towers and they have the Blight ability, your army can get turned into wraiths and a lot of bad things can happen. So, yeah, didn't want that smoke. Numenorian's going to be gathering up, and now we do have Casimir. He's an absolute Giga Chad. Looking at his abilities here. So nearby Black Numenorians gain 33% armor, damage, and experience. Insanely good. At level 8, you, of course, can activate it, and he gives a huge armor buff, which is good. He can be mounted, so you can use him to run down archers, although I usually just leave him on foot. Rule of the King's Men. So Casimir plants a banner on the ground. Nearby units get fear, terror, and knockback resistance. So if you're going to get run over by cavalry, you can plop this. I believe Cold Judgment is an AoE that stuns units, and his ultimate is like a hero. So he knocks down and pins an enemy hero for 15 seconds. Incredibly strong. Incredibly strong. So I mean, even if you forget to use all of his abilities, just having him near the Numenorian warriors just gives you an insane damage boost. Like, you're going to see the Dol Guldur units get taken to Pound Town pretty bad, assuming Casimir is nearby. So we're going to rotate over, take down a building here. We have some jailers. I didn't notice them. They're going to be getting my Harandor Cav. And now we are going to be getting the MUMAKIL soon. I like to use them as like a finisher unit to really kind of push your opponent. But we are able to slay these guys. And this is where he could use Necromancy. And I believe he does. So he uses Necromancy. And you see you get a full unit of the undead. So they can fight to their full potential as an orc. But then you get to pop that and get them back as skeletons, which are very weak. But, you know, there's a couple units on Dol Guldur, for example, that buff the undead and have some nice synergy. So, yeah, really, really fun faction. He's getting some Barrow Wights, upgrading them with the Desecrated Horde. So it's going to be increasing their strength, making them a little bit stronger. But I definitely have map control right now, a little bit of raiding on the outside. But what is that? That is his white character. Yeah, Kargast. So he slows nearby enemies, the Barrow Lord. He has a single target ability, and nearby units can gain movement speed and experience. Okay. Yeah, overall, I mean, my Spearmen might be able to beat him. We'll see. On the backside, Spider's going to continue raiding my base, poking away where they can. And now, homie, if I remember correctly, he's got the giant spiders, which are like anti-building units. Really, really good at split pushing and just like taking down buildings. But now we have probably the most Chadley cavalry that I've seen in the game. Aside from some of maybe the elite Rohan ones, these are the Black Numenorian Vanguards. Getting the armor upgrades here, they absolutely dominate these spiders. But these guys are raid bosses. They do a shit ton of damage. Gathering up in the middle. Most of our army's in good shape. We have the Numenorians. And looking at the abilities we have, he has the Forest of Fear and Carnage, which is really good for sniping abilities. And I have the Fourth Men of Darkness, which calls in an allied contingent of Khan's Phalanx, which is very, very strong. So we're preparing for another fight here, gathering my forces. And I believe you just use the Darkness ability. You can see I have like this debuff on me here. Oh man, look how fast those guys are. They're just flying, dude. All right, up in the top. Yeah, let's switch this. Look at the abilities there. Perfect. So now we're back to neutral. We're going to have a little rumble here. He does have the Castellans. Armored Castellans they're kind of like powerful hero characters that provide a nice aura. So big fight is going to be underway, but we get the bowling pin. The Numenorian Vanguard rolls right down the flank, runs over his whole army. Granted, I did run through some spears. He's trying to establish a tower here, a jail, to provide a little bit of support and maybe call out some units quickly. And now the Numenorian Vanguard going to be running through the front once again. So overall, the fight is massively favoring my units. The Numenorians with Casimir are just way too strong for these guys to handle. Some of the elite Graveguard here, these are like, or Tomb Guard, those are his big heavy hitters. They're halberd units, so they're good against heroes. They don't necessarily kill the infantry super quickly. Granted, they're not terrible either. So Krimple's going to be on his way in. We do manage to push them back, and here in the middle, the Corsairs of Umbar, also getting buffed, by the way, by our other hero character. Still staying the course, enduring well in the back of the base. We have more of the Black Numenorian Vanguard coming out. They're going to be sprinting across the map and providing support wherever they're needed. But overall, our infantry are they're leveling up, and as they level, they get Quaking Hearts. So enemy struck inflict, yeah, they can lower enemy damage when they get upgraded. I mean, those Corsairs are those Black Numenorians are so good. Heading to the north, we got a couple Barrow Wights there, but now we're just going to take down this Haggard Tower here. This is that's Krimple's Yeah, so that's his hero. He can summon that. Another amazing ability. You just plop this down on a forward siege, and you can just spam out crappy broken rabbles all day, which is actually quite cost effective, right? So for my abilities, he is at 2 and 17, and I'm currently at 3 and 5. And now we get our first Mumak out, so the Mumakil are going to be here. Very good siege unit. They can bunker, bust, turtling positions. Crimple's going to be spinning around in the shadows here as the Graveguard do gather, and the whites are also on their way. So Sauron will be here soon in his necromantic form. He will be arriving. I end up pulling back here. Didn't want to deal with all those Barrow Whites. They're a very elite unit. Very, very strong. I mean, I could probably beat them, but just getting dragged down over there felt a little bit dodgy. So we're upgrading. We're going near the tent, trying to get these bad boys. You can, of course, upgrade the Mumaks and get some nice upgrades for them. This game, I can't remember if I got any. I think I end up getting some. Cavalry running over the Barrow Whites. They have a ton of HP, but even still, they are no match for the elite Numenorians here. And now we have a Mumakil that is going to be pushing up. I do have a really cool ability called the Unrelenting Sun. What this does is it weakens enemy units on the map and also does damage over time. So big fight going to be going down here, and I know there's a Castellan in there. I don't know if Sauron is in the mix yet. The Mumakil going to be battling it out. Does quite a bit of damage. You can trample people with these things. The same with Cavalry. You use the War Beast of the South, and it gets like a cool trample effect. And yeah, that is going to be the Armored Castellan. He uses a Fear ability, makes some of my units run. But overall there, we continue bashing, and the the Barrow Whites, getting very smashed up as well, as the Mumak is able to trample the remnants of his units. So this is his building that gives him his range units and his siege units. It is the Fount of Corruption. We're going to be trying to take that down right now. Meanwhile, on the outside, using the Black Numenorians to do a little bit of split pushing. And yeah, just doing the best we can. He gets his Undead Troll, which is his tier 3 ability. That thing is a raid boss and a half. I do have my elite spearmen here, the Watchers of Karna. They are very, very good against such units, so hopefully they'll be able to fight back. And the Mumakil, able to trample that building in tandem with the Corsair Lord of Umbar. He has an anti-building called Watery Grave that drags down the buildings on the backside, just pumping out units where we can. I believe just mainly focusing on the Numenorian units, which I probably should have made a second one of those buildings to pump them out. Because late game, they're very, very good. Although you still want to mix in some of the Corsairs and the Pirates because they really benefit from that hero that you can get, right? The Mumakil going to be showing this troll who's boss and trying his best, but the Tomb Guard here has gotten 4 levels. Wow, that thing's pretty raid boss. And we actually ended up getting forced back. So the Mumakil was very Chad, but I knew this was a timed troll. I should have just turned and fought it. I was trying to get back and get my bearings here. We do have our tower, but I don't know if I have anybody fighting actually in that tower. On the top side, I do have some Harandor spearmen. They were chasing some spiders, but going to be doing some split pushing here where they can. And we see the last of the Barrow Whites being taken down by Casimir, who is level 2 only, but my other hero is level 9. So level 9, he gets Watery Grave, which damages buildings. He gets Give Nothing Back, so he does a big fire ability. It damages buildings and structures. It's super good. And you can also mind control an enemy unit for 30 seconds. That is insanely good, right? You see an elite unit, your point, you're like, that shit's mine. During a very key fight, it can turn the tide of fights. It's a matter of getting used to the abilities. But yeah, they do some nice work. So here we do have the Spider. It is able to trample my mercenaries, I call that here. The Black Numenorian Vanguard should make quick work of all these units. They're extremely powerful. They're able to beat down the big Spider, and also, of course, beat the lesser Fellbroods, which are one of the earlier game units. But these guys cost 1,000 gold, I think, and the Spider here, the combined cost of these 2 Spider units is way more. So yeah, Sareneth's sister, or Sarenthraz, however the hell you say that, is going to be running. On the outside, my flanking spearmen taken to town, and we are going to be gathering, moving up my caravans now. So the caravans, you can move them up. This faction is so freaking complicated. But basically, you set the caravans up, and it buffs nearby units. You can see it gives leadership and armor and different things like that. You have to deploy it, but having one with your army and microing it is very big. So we make some low-tier units, the Mahood Warriors. They're the ones that go with the old Mumakil here. I always want to start with the Mumak units or the Mumakil units, but if you look at the production options, you get a swordsman and you get a range unit, and then you get a support character. There are no spearmen. So if you open with these guys as your opening unit, then you get run down by cavalry, you basically just die. You just kind of lose the game. So you can't really go them first. I mean, maybe you could. We have a couple headhunters with their blow darts here, but now the Mumakils and the Numenorians advancing, and Sauron the Necromancer still has not come out yet. I could have sworn he appears at some point in the game, but yeah, we'll see. There's still plenty of game to be had. On the other side, my elite Cav battling versus his whites, and he does also have a Kargast over here. This guy's very cool. He does buff, I believe, nearby whites as well. I think he has something that buffs him. I can't remember. Any Risen Dead near him deal 50% damage for 20 seconds. That's really good. That includes all undead units. So you can see some of the synergies of Guldur. All right, big elephant here fighting it out and being chased by a fair amount of the spear units, but now going to be turning around and engaging versus the Barrow Whites. And does have the trample damage, and yeah, our elite units, the Watchers of Karna, hopefully will be able to intercept In the back, we do get our big cav using our anti-building from the Corsair Lord. So you can see he drowns it in water there. It's very, very cool. The old pirate. And here comes Sauron the Necromancer. Looks like he was damaged from something, but he is in the wrong neighborhood. Immediately pops out. He bonks him, but he attacks the Watchers of Karna. And yeah, very inglorious end for him, potentially, as he just barely gets away right there. All right, the Forest of Fear is there. That's going to be putting the fear in my boys and spawning spiders. But right now, heavy push coming in. MUMAK's going to be very good at knocking down these buildings. So look at the damage. Boom, he gets in there. And I didn't even get the upgrades. You click the upgrade right here for anybody who's newer. On the outside, the Haradwaith units looking for opportunities to farm. But now the Tower of Sorcery is going to be going down here. Sauron the Necromancer licking his wounds in the back, but probably not going to make too much of a difference here as the MUMAKIL and the Black Numenorians continue taking ground. A couple Barrow Wights are out, but now it's time for the Black Matriarch. This is the ultimate ability of Haradwaith. It summons like an uber giga elephant. This guy has an ability which is really disgusting. It's called the single-minded charge. You click it and he charges an enemy hero or structure and deals massive damage. You're about to see Sauron get the business from that thing. A couple wraiths were summoned from killing my units near the tower. On the outside, my cavalry did work here. Sauron will be coming back in. He's still healing, but this is kind of the end of the rope. My opponent making mostly broken rabbles, and here he comes. So Sauron's out. Single-minded charge is going to be activated. You guys ready? Here it comes. Okay, so we're going to click it, and Sauron gets like right in the elephant's face, and the elephant just charges him and kind of just bonks him down, I think. Let's see, does it activate there? Yep, the Necromancer just plowed by that unit. Oh my god. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it, most likely. The Watchers of Karna and the champions of Harad were able to get it done. And now Dol Guldur's capital is going to be getting taken down here. They do have a couple zombies trying to defend it, but overall looking a little bit bare bones. Fighters out there not doing super hot. And GG, well played. So we're both learning those factions. That was like one of his earlier games on Dol Guldur. I don't know why we didn't get to see the stats, and that was one of my earlier games as well on Haradwaith. So I'm looking forward to exploring the faction. There's so much tech and so many options and synergies with them. It is freaking insane. It's overwhelming, as a matter of fact. Like in their main base, you have the option to subjugate a bunch of different tribes of Harad. And yeah, I just don't know which ones to do and when to do it. I know there's one for like Numenorians, so I probably should have gotten that one, even though I didn't. Man, so much. All right, guys, I appreciate any tips. Hopefully you enjoyed some Lord of the Rings action. The next game is going to be really fun. It's he played Rohan and I played the Misty Mountains, so that was a really fun battle. That one will be coming up soon. So stay tuned. I appreciate all of you guys, and we'll see you on the other side.